Have you ever noticed how your priorities shift as you get older? The things that once felt so essential, like maintaining a busy social life or having a large circle of friends, may no longer hold the same weight. And here's a truth that may surprise you. After reaching 70, you don't need friends the way you used to. At first glance, that might sound a bit shocking, but when you really stop and think about it, embracing independence and focusing on your own well-being can be one of the best decisions you'll make in your later years. In today's video, we'll explore the 6 reasons why friendships aren't as necessary in your later years as they once were. We'll uncover how embracing solitude, shifting your mindset, and improving your overall health can lead to a more fulfilling, peaceful life. Now, don't get confused. This isn't about loneliness. It's about living life on your own terms, free from the pressure of meeting social expectations. Stay with us until the end. You might just find that letting go of the need to maintain friendships could change the way you see yourself and your later years. Let's dive in. Number 1. The need for validation fades. When you're young, social validation matters. You feel a certain pressure to prove yourself to the world, to your friends, and even to your family. The need to fit in, be admired, or climb social ladders often drives relationships. You worry about your reputation and where you stand in the eyes of others. But by the time you reach your 70s, that need for validation starts to fade away. You've already lived through the stages where your worth was defined by how many friends you had or how popular you were. Now, you realize that real fulfillment doesn't come from impressing anyone. It comes from being at peace with who you are. You're no longer interested in keeping up appearances or worrying about maintaining relationships for the sake of status. Take someone like Margaret. She's in her 70s now, and looking back, she realizes that most of the friendships she maintained through her life were based on convenience, not genuine connection. They were friendships formed around work, shared activities, or mutual obligations, but they weren't built on real, deep bonds. After retiring, Margaret stopped chasing these superficial connections. Instead, she focused on herself, rediscovering hobbies, learning new skills, and spending time with people who truly mattered. She didn't feel the need to impress anyone anymore. She had already built her legacy. When you stop chasing validation from others, you're freed from the pressure to fit in. Your life becomes a reflection of your choices, not of society's expectations. And the best part? You start to understand that your worth is yours to define, not dictated by anyone else's opinion. Number 2. Peace outweighs socializing. When you're younger, being around people feels essential. The noise, the conversations, the energy, it all feels like part of living life to the fullest. But as you age, a shift happens. You begin to crave peace more than socializing. It's not that socializing is bad, it's just that as time goes on, you start to value quiet moments over the chaos of constant interaction. Think about the social obligations that come with friendships. The phone calls, the texts, the need to respond to every invitation. These things, once fulfilling, can start to feel draining. Imagine someone like Harold, who's in his mid-70s. He used to fill his calendar with social events, dinners, outings, calls with friends. But as time passed, he began to realize that the conversations were becoming repetitive, and he was no longer feeling fulfilled by them. One day, Harold made a choice. He stopped feeling guilty about declining invitations that didn't excite him, and instead, he spent more time in nature, took long walks, and simply embraced the quiet. He found that solitude wasn't lonely, it was peaceful. At this stage in life, you realize that the endless socializing isn't what nourishes your soul. It's the peace, the quiet moments when you don't have to entertain anyone, meet expectations, or feel like you have to talk to be seen. And that, my friends, is a beautiful thing. You can now choose to spend time in a way that feels good for you, free from the pressure to perform for others. Number 3, fewer friends, less heartache. As you get older, you start to realize that not all friendships are equal. Some friendships, no matter how much you wish they would last, simply fade away over time. When you were younger, you probably tried to keep every relationship alive, hoping that all your friends would always be there. But life happens, and you experience the disappointment of realizing that some people weren't as committed to you as you were to them. At 75, George has seen friendships come and go. Some friends drifted away as they got caught up in their own lives. Others, he began to notice, only reached out when they needed something from him. George learned that it was okay to let go of relationships that no longer felt mutual. He stopped forcing himself to keep up with friendships that drained him, and instead focused on the relationships that brought him joy, those that required no effort to maintain. Fewer friends mean fewer disappointments. You don't have to waste your energy on one-sided friendships anymore. Instead, you get to prioritize the connections that truly matter, whether it's with family, a lifelong friend, or even just your own inner peace. If you've ever been let down by friends, remember that it's okay to step back and reevaluate your connections. You deserve quality, not quantity. And when you let go of relationships that weren't truly supportive, you make room for the ones that really lift you up. Number 4, time becomes your most precious resource. As you age, you begin to understand that time is more precious than anything else. In your younger years, it felt like there was always more time to spend with friends, run errands, and juggle social events. But as you approach your 70s and beyond, your perspective shifts. Now, every day, every hour, and every moment feels valuable. You realize that your time should be spent wisely, doing what truly brings you joy, not what others expect of you. Take Richard, for example. He's in his 80s now and spent decades attending dinner parties, social outings, and making sure he was always available for his friends. But one day, he found himself dreading another dinner party, where the conversations felt shallow and the small talk was exhausting. Richard made a change. He started saying no to social obligations he didn't enjoy, and instead dedicated his time to the things he loved: reading, walking, and spending quiet time alone. He realized that he didn't have to fill his days with endless socializing to feel fulfilled. When you reach this stage in life, you earn the right to ask yourself, is this friendship or this event really worth my time? Do I feel better for having spent time on it? Or is it just another obligation on my to-do list? By saying no to what doesn't add value, you can focus on the things that bring you happiness and peace. Number 5, true companionship starts with yourself. A big misconception about getting older is that you need a wide circle of friends to be truly happy. But the truth is, true companionship starts with yourself. When you reach your 70s, you've had decades to get to know yourself. You've learned your likes, your dislikes, your passions, and your needs. And with that self-awareness comes a sense of inner peace. It's important to remember that solitude doesn't mean loneliness. In fact, some of the happiest people in their later years are those who have learned to enjoy their own company. Look at Elena, for example. She used to feel like she had to always be around people to feel fulfilled. But after years of busy social calendars, she realized that many of her friendships were based on routine rather than real connection. Elena began to embrace spending time alone, taking walks, reading, meditating, and reflecting on her life. As she did so, she discovered that she was happier than she had ever been. and she was never lonely. True companionship isn't about how many friends you have. It's about how comfortable you are with yourself. When you learn to enjoy your own company, you stop relying on others for happiness and validation. And as a result, you attract the right people into your life. People who respect your space and who bring peace, not pressure. Number 6. Letting go leads to a more fulfilling life. One of the most powerful things you can do in your 70s and beyond is to let go. Let go of the pressure to maintain friendships that no longer bring joy. Let go of the idea that your worth is tied to your social circle. Let go of the belief that being alone means being lonely. When you let go, you create space for a simpler, more fulfilling life. You stop chasing social expectations and instead focus on what truly makes you happy. Think of James, who's in his late 70s. He once believed that staying socially active was the key to a fulfilling life. But over time, he realized that the conversations felt repetitive. The gatherings felt like obligations, and deep down, he felt more exhausted than connected. So, he made a choice to stop forcing friendships that didn't feel meaningful. He began to focus on things he enjoyed, spending time outdoors, focusing on his health, and enjoying the peace of not having to meet anyone's expectations. The surprising result? He felt more fulfilled than ever before. Letting go didn't mean closing himself off from the world. It meant creating space for what truly mattered. So, if you find yourself wondering if you should hold on to friendships that no longer bring you joy, ask yourself, is this really adding value to my life? Or am I just holding on because I feel obligated? When you give yourself permission to let go, you'll find that life becomes lighter, simpler, and more fulfilling than you ever imagined. As we wrap up today's discussion, take a moment to reflect. The idea that you don't need to chase friendships after 70 isn't about isolation. It's about freedom. It's about embracing life on your own terms and recognizing that your happiness doesn't depend on the number of people around you. By letting go of friendships that no longer serve you, you create space for joy, peace, and fulfillment in ways you never thought possible. What stood out to you in today's video? Which of these reasons resonated most with your own life? Have you already begun letting go of friendships that no longer bring you joy? Share your thoughts below. We'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an inspiring piece of content. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.